been hanging out with me for too long.
I love it.
Before you met me.
You are rubbing off on me. I am becoming the most unprofessional, most delightful person.
You're saying that I'm rubbing off on you to become unprofessional.
And delightful. Professional is boring. My CEO is fond of saying mature is a word boring people made up to excuse their sad lives.
Ah. I'm all against maturity.
You discuss delivery of value. You identified the data-driven approach. You talked about the people element. You use a royal we when you were talking about your successes. You're just hitting on all cylinders, honestly. For your information, that information comes from the Standish Chaos Report. You can look it up for different years, and it's really interesting. So,
What is that called?
The Standish Chaos Report.
Oh.
If you look up the Chaos Report.
Okay.
Another good one is the State of Agile Report. They do one every year.
Okay.
The Standish Chaos Report is like every 2 years-ish. They're not consistent. Standish is a great organization, but they're not consistent. Kind of like me. So some of the questions I had about your resume, you didn't re-up your SAFE. Is there a reason for that?
Just financial reasons right now.
Dollars,
Yeah. Yeah.
Behind that, plus all cards on the table. I do not respect SAFE. I'm not a big fan. So I'm current. I stay current, and it's out of spite, so that I can with authority say how garbage it is. Yeah. You have stuff in your thing on OKRs. Did you implement an OKR process, or were you fortunate enough to utilize one? I ask because I am a big fan of Measure What Matters. I like OKRs. I think they're cool. And even just the knowledge, I think that's something that maybe in the future, once we're done with like a whole transformation garbage, that might be something we might want to promote, right? Like some idea of managing our goals from a higher top-down approach.
Well, recently, it's something that I wouldn't say I introduced it, but just kind of drew our attention back to it, just to see, because it was so chaotic and there was, we weren't doing any work based off of anything. So we weren't doing work based off of anything. People were just, whoever screamed the loudest, kind of just, they would pile it on. And so what I said is, okay, so what we do, we don't do SAFE at Deluxe. We do big room planning, which is kind of a little similar to SAFE. And so each planning cycle, the teams would just, they would commit to, a body of work. And so, cycle after cycle, they wouldn't deliver. And so that would, obviously the frustration from our business partners. And so what I said is let's start looking at our metrics. Let's start using the data to plan rather than just, planning, out, just saying we can deliver. So what we started doing is utilizing our metrics, just looking at our say-do ratio, looking at, even though we have that planning cycle and we've planned that work for the 6 weeks or 6 to 8 weeks, what we do after every sprint is we review the metrics for that sprint. And then if there are any changes, we call it a recalibration, where we kind of go back and, make changes based off of what we know. And so I wouldn't say that I came up with that process, but it's a process that was abandoned or, just not looking at some of these indicators to say, how are we doing? How can we use the information that we know now to make better decisions moving forward? So I didn't, establish them per se, but just kind of said, this will help us. So let's kind of go back to some of these things. And what we have found is not everything, works for some of the teams. So, they've done away or they've modified some of my suggestions, which I do like. So yes.
So did they bring you in for like transformational purposes, or were you just kind of like trying to refresh what was there in front of you because it was like a new role?
I was bamboozled, to be honest. I was told that this organization is very mature. As they said, they've been doing Agile since 2017. This is a very mature organization. The segment that I would be working in was also had seasoned Scrum Masters. And what I notice is that, when as a Scrum Master, when you constantly have to fight the fight without support, there's that burnout. So what I met was, some Scrum Masters, my peers, that kind of just threw in the towel. And so one of the good thing about, me joining and others that have joined behind me is that just refreshed energy, the new set of eyes, that just reigniting, the reason why we're doing what we're doing. And so what we've seen is this kind of like catalyst reaction where those Scrum Masters are picking back up. And people are just starting to understanding and seeing, because what they said was, oh, this doesn't work. It doesn't work. And what I said is, what Agile doesn't solve all of your problems. What it does is highlights the areas of challenge where you have challenges. So it's not that it's not working, but let's do some root cause analysis to see what exactly isn't working. And that's what we've been able to do. So like I said, I was like, you know what, everyone drop your pencils. We're going back to the basics, because you have product owners that say they only write features and they don't write user stories. You have user stories that look like technical requirements. Everything was just a big mess. So it took a bit of convincing, but I had to make my case, just kind of showing the data. This is where we were, this program was supposed to be delivered at the end of 2022. It's now 2024. We're 2 million. So just using all of that information, and it actually required me to kind of step outside of, to get that financial piece, which I know matters so much.
For sure.
Yeah, so I had to kind of, talk to a few people to gather that information, but I had to speak their language to really make my point.
And so was it something that it sounds like, but correct me if I'm wrong, like you saw that there was this like lackluster giving up situation, and you kind of proposed that you help lead a little bit of a refresh, or was that?
Yeah, I did. Our Agile leadership, we have a, COP. We also have a meeting every 2 weeks with our Agile leadership. And where we kind of just come and say, what are the challenges that we're facing? And so, it was actually me going to my Agile leaders that also lended that support. So speaking with the leaders of my segment to kind of get that buy-in. So it was a collaboration with my Agile leaders.
Awesome. I did notice, and I wanted you to speak directly to, so have you only been with Deluxe since February?
Yes.
Okay. And so just what makes you want to leave it so soon?
Well, it's a 6-month contract.
Okay.
So it's a contract. There's a lot of work to be done, but budgeting is really tight. And so there's just that possibility of not renewing my contract.
Absolutely. Okay, cool. Let's see. Randall, did you want to touch on any of the other resume discussion points, or do you mind if we?
Yeah, we'd be here all day if I started off. So, in fact, I think we heard a lot about experience.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm up for skipping experience discussion and getting into the meat of things.
Because I think it'll come out.
Mm-hmm. Samantha, this is going very well. Like, we usually can tell at about right now, usually the conversation will shift in terms of how can we help this person? How can we invest in this person? And that is definitely not the case. I hear a lot of what I expect to hear from people who are my mentors and peers and stuff. So
my goodness.
Doing well.
Oh, thank you. That is such a compliment.
Randall is good at giving that feedback, and he's not afraid to give poor feedback either. So when he says it, he definitely means it.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, I'm learning from him. I was
saying that for me.
For sure.
That's the other part, is everything's out in the open.
Yep.
You've spoken very well. We're not checking to see if you can speak, so if you get distracted, it's fine. But if you're looking at the board, you're seeing what we're thinking.
Okay.
So keep that in mind. It's all above board. And I just wanted to say that you're doing well. Just just so you understand like how things are going. It's going to get a little bit harder because we're going to start to move into some like poking and prodding and challenging a little bit.
Okay.
But yeah.
I was thinking 3-minute scrum.
I really would like to see that. Yeah.
All right. So if you're not following me specifically, if you go over to the right hand side and click that scrum in 3 minutes, number 4,
Okay.
it will take you directly to where we are. Because we want you to have a visual. All right, visiting out. So yeah. All right. So what you're going to do is you are going to describe Scrum in 3 minutes. Accountabilities, events, artifacts. Why do we use it? I'm basically going to set a timer, and we're going to see what you come up with in 3 minutes.
Okay.
But you don't have to type.
You don't have to type anything if you don't want to.
Okay. Sorry, I'm using a MacBook, and all right, here we go. Okay.
So those are just some prompts or whatever, but I mean, basically, I verbally said everything that we're looking for you to touch on, but it's your 3 minutes. So go ahead and start when you're ready.
All right. So explaining Scrum in 3 minutes. Here we go. All right. So Scrum to me is collaborating between business and technology to deliver iteratively. And our goal is to get feedback from the voice of our customers as soon as possible to make any changes or enhancements that we can to sell whatever product it is that we're selling, and make it, maximize what we're out there to do, and from a competitive perspective. So Scrum, the framework, what I would say it is again, we're working together collaboratively. So you have your business represented on the team, you have your agile leader on the team, and then you have the development team that is working together on a daily basis to come together and to deliver that value increment iteratively, and then obviously getting that feedback, having that regular feedback loop. So some of the artifacts include the product backlog for the team, as well as there could be a program backlog. There are also various events that take place. So there is the daily scrums where the team is meeting for a very short moment to discuss the progress made, and then also if there are any impediments, and not a status meeting. It's a time for the team to come together and collaborate, discuss, lend support, and also to learn. And then it's an opportunity to make any adjustments, to plan, do, check, and then inspect and adapt. There's also the refinement to gain alignment on the vision, also alignment on the requests from the business stakeholders, and to understand what the ask is. And then that's an opportunity for the team to ask any questions to gain any clarity and alignment as well. Then we have the retrospective, which is really great because it's a time for the team to actually take a look and kind of reflect on what they've done and look for areas that they can improve upon. Also shouting out some of the winning moments that the team had during the sprint. So it's not all about, what did we do? Where can we improve? But it's also about what should we continue doing? And then also just shouting out the team members and giving each other kudos, which is also a great way to keep each other encouraged. Then we have the sprint review / demo, which is an opportunity for the team to kind of show and tell, showcase what they've done. Also a moment to keep the team accountable. What did you guys say you're going to do versus what did you do? And kind of, oh, darn.
No, you were doing so good. So I'm gonna fill you in on Randall's thing. He will never expect anybody to actually be able to do this in 3 minutes. So truly and honestly, it's a measure to see like if you only know 1 or 2 things and then you kind of like run out of things to say, or if you don't hit on some of those really critical accountabilities or artifacts or events. The only picture perfect person is probably going to be Randall as far as like the 2020 Scrum Guide. He goes to bed and reads it every night. But
awesome.
It's like his bedtime story. It's the 2020 Scrum Guide. But I thought you did a great job at, like, even if you didn't say the exact word out of the 2020 Scrum Guide, like the intent is there. Your business rep, product owner, agile leader, your Scrum Master, your developers, your product backlog, things like that, your sprint backlog, all definition of done, all that good stuff. So, Randall, do you have any feedback you want to give or any follow-up questions?
Yeah, it was great. I used to do this as like a kata for myself, just like a practice thing that I do over and over. It got to the point where there's a guy, Tim, at my work. I'd be like, hey, I used to come up to him and be like, hey man, you got just like 3 minutes for me? And then if he said yes, I'd start doing this. It got to the point where I'd be like, hey man, you got 3 minutes? He'd be like, for what?
He's like, you're not going to pull me into that again.
Yeah. I suggest doing this if you find.
Yeah.
I've done it with family and friends because it's I'm a dork, but anyone that will sit down for 3 minutes, it's good practice, and you can go back to the 2020 Scrum Guide and be like, how did I do? But for us, it's essentially just a stress test for the book knowledge, and you got it. There's some rough edges in there. Like, I think you felt it in artifacts, right? Like, I'm a little light on artifacts.
Right.
You were knocking out the events. You said refinement. That's an activity, not an event, but that's one of the gotchas we throw in there. There is no pass-fail, but if there were, you would have passed. This is definitely, for what we expect, this is good enough, at least.
Okay, awesome. I actually really like that. 3 minutes.
I love that you called out like the team accomplishments. Like you took the time to say, like in the retro, it's not just about, what we can do better, action items. It's also that time. And something actually really recently that I've implemented with some of the teams that have been through the transformation is an agile maintenance checklist, which is a quarterly checklist where they are literally having to like confirm and tell me that they have reviewed things like our JIRA standards with the team, because things change all the time.
Yeah.
Go over your team working agreement. Is it still accurate? Is your product goal still, accurate? Things like that, where even if, they're obviously not accountable for the product goal, but I want my Scrum Masters and product owners to always be in lockstep. Like they should be coaching each other.
Yep.
They should be besties. So, yeah, I loved that because I am a firm believer in positive reinforcement and giving that shout out when necessary, because I know as a person that works a job, I like that positive reinforcement too.
Right.
So I can imagine that others do as well. So let's see. I guess I would be interested in just doing like it's at 4:33 right now, at least my time it is. So maybe we do a quick 30 to 60 second qualities of an awesome Scrum Master, just to see what we would all put. Yeah.
Okay.
So we're down here on number 6, and once I see you, if you want to take the yellow stickies, Sonota, Randall, if you want to take the green stickies, and I will take the gray stickies, and go ahead and just what?
That will not stand. You
Why?
can take the purple stickies. There's no way you are taking the gray stickies.
Aw, and it's my favorite color. All right, have you found us yet? I don't
Yes.
see the owl moving around. Oh, okay. Okay, cool. So go ahead, get started. We'll just take 30 to 60 seconds and write some qualities of an awesome Scrum Master.
Okay. Oh no. Okay.
What's the mom vibes, Randall?
Yeah. I did different ones every time.
All right. Let's see. Black market merchant.
Yeah.
All right. Well, why don't we walk through yours first, Sonota? Just
Okay.
kind of talk us through your options there, or your words.
Okay, so the first thing is a servant leader. And, you hear that all the time, but, sometimes you really have to ask yourself, what is it truly to be a servant leader? Understanding that, you are, as a Scrum Master, the leader on a team. From an agile perspective. So it's, flat, no hierarchy. And you're really there to serve the team. So, you're moving impediments, you're shielding the team. You are there to serve the team. I also put empathetic because, I think a Scrum Master brings back that personal element back to the workplace. Understanding that there are goals and, behind the scenes, there are financial resources that have been pumped into work, and there are a lot of moving pieces. But at the end of the day, we're all people. Our jobs are not the only part of our lives. One of the most, really, moments was during COVID, and we had team members in India that were losing family members and that were sick themselves, and at that time, I just had to kind of say, is it okay if we kind of take just 2 days away from the work? Just because on our art, we had lost someone and it really impacted the team. So having that just people element. Also coaching the team, especially with really green teams about, what is Agile, and helping them understand what is Scrum, and why do we have all of these new meetings? That's a waste of time, and getting them.
So long.
Oops, did I run out of time?
No.
Oh,
No, I was being a team member. Why
Yeah.
are the meetings so long?
Exactly, or why do we have so many? And just allowing them to see the value in each meeting, and without just saying you guys have to. So a transformation, obviously, that's the way the organization is going or that particular unit. But I don't like to lead, well, this is the mandate and we have to do it. I want people to actually see the value. And it takes a lot of effort sometimes before, you get that buy-in from the team, but just working with the team. Then guiding the team. So sometimes the answer or, is so bright as day that I just want to tell them, okay, you do this. But instead of that, using, just asking the right questions to help guide them to, what some of those, some of the decisions that they need to make. Or if, someone is stuck and spinning their own wheels, asking them, do you need support? Seeing who has a stronger skill set and pair them with someone who doesn't, and just encouraging them. There was one time that, I noticed some junior members on the team, and instead of just kind of calling them out, I'm like, hey, we all need to learn something. So let's create a backlog of things that we want to learn, and, sign up if you feel like you're a SME in that area, and then we can, schedule some time to walk through. And so I put in something for myself, and that encouraged people to kind of say, okay, I need help in, with Java or with AWS. It just helped encourage them to kind of let their shield down, their guards down, and say, I need help as well. Those are my...
I love that. Randall, let's hear yours.
I'll go through mine very quickly. Likable. What is it? Jeff Sutherland said the only useless Scrum Master is a dead one that can't get anything done. So gotta be likable. Curiosity is absolutely imperative. I think we all know that. I put down mom vibes because I feel like you gotta kind of have mom vibes in terms of like, let them cook, let them cut the onions, but kind of be there in case they're gonna lose a thumb, right? Like, but let them do it. That kind of mom vibes thing. Servant leader, we all agree on that. I know Sarah's put that on previous ones, so I think she agrees with that one. Black market merchant, I put that on there because I say that a lot about Scrum Masters. Sometimes you got to wheel and deal. Sometimes you got to ask for forgiveness instead of permission.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to take chances, and you got to know how to do that without getting fired.
Right.
And that's kind of the game sometimes. So I put that on there.
Well, I could actually segue that into positivity because I mean, just having that upbeat attitude and being somebody that people are not afraid to come and talk to, right? They're not afraid that you're going to bite their head off if you ask them a single question. I think is so important, especially for a Scrum Master, because your biggest superpower is your relationship building, because you are leading by influence, right? Critical thinking is so important, and it is a skill that is not prevalent. Where I want Scrum Masters to think through their problems, offer solutions, not just come to me with a long list of why are things this way and everything sucks. That critical thinking, like how can we think about solving problems? How can we think about maturing ourselves in the team? Good communicator. It is what it is. You have to be able to talk the talk and talk to your teams, talk to your product owners, talk to your business stakeholders, and talk to leadership.
Yep.
Facilitator of team empowerment. I think one of the things that you've touched on in a multitude of ways today is really not just being about yourself, but really like showing Randall and I through your words and the things that you've said that team empowerment is really important to you. And it's not just about you kicking butt, but it's about the whole team winning.
Right.
And motivation to improve continuously. I mean, that is so important. And it's something that I'm going to be transparent. At Magellan, the person that was in my role previously was more of a dictator, and she did not encourage thinking. And so it's been a little bit of a rough ride to kind of like get the team thinking that way, that you are allowed to think, you are allowed to experiment, and we want to see that. So
awesome.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, Sarah, we've been really bad at having time at the end.
Yes, that's true.
Do mock coaching quickly and legacy of people quickly.
Yes, agree.
I'll hold us to a 5-minute time box for each. Is that all right?
Yep. So for the mock coaching scenario, I'm going to be a team member. You're going to be the Scrum Master,
okay.
And in a few minutes after I explain the scenario, we're going to be interacting like role playing.
Okay.
So my team's velocity has been decreasing for a couple of weeks, and a team member, me, brings it up to you, because I'm afraid we're going to get in trouble with leadership. Okay. And I need to be a new person today. Last time I was Brenda. This time, I feel like you would appreciate it. So, okay. I'm trying to think of all right. I'm going to try to be an introvert. I don't think I can do it. Hey, Sonota. God, I don't know how to say this. Okay, you know how we have our monthly deliver review meeting, and that leadership is looking at all our metrics, and our velocity has been going down, and I don't want to get in trouble for it. Can you fix it?
Oh, okay, fix it. So when you say fix it, what do you mean?
Oh, well, I mean, you're the Scrum Master, right? I mean, don't you tell us how to do everything, and then we do it, and then
No, well, we're on a team and we collaborate. So let's take a look at, you are correct that the velocity is dipping, but there could be reasons why. So
Well, doesn't it just mean that we suck?
No, there could be different reasons. This is during the holidays. So, people are taking vacation. Which means, less people are working. So there are different reasons. So let's take a look at, the last, couple of sprints, and let's see, why. First, we could start by looking at the team's capacity, and then we can look at, okay, maybe our stories rolling over, and let's see, if that's the case, why are those stories rolling over, and let's discuss it as a team.
So what are you going to say to leadership? I mean, say, what if we identify it on our team?
Mm-hmm.
But then, what are you going to say? Aren't we going to look bad?
So one of the things is that we have to be transparent. So that's one of the things, we have to be transparent. But one of the things that our stakeholders will appreciate if we have identified it and we're proactive. So if we take some proactive steps towards, kind of building back up on that velocity, depending on what the reasoning is, then we can communicate that to our stakeholders. So it doesn't look like, okay, the team is slacking, but even if it's something that the team, can make improvements on, we can speak to that as a team.
I'm going to jump in. I want you to do that again, Sonota, but rather than give her the solution about showing the leadership that we are proactive and saying, like, look, this is how you do it. Can you try and sort of test her assumptions, probe at her a little bit, ask some questions, come with a little bit more curiosity in that moment?
Okay.
See if maybe you can get her to come up with a solution, whether it be yours or not. It's okay to guide her toward that solution, but let's see what she can come up with.
Awesome.
Try again.
All right. So you're on the team, Brenda, and so have you noticed anything different with, how with the work and how the team is working? Have you noticed anything?
Well, you said it's the holidays, and I should have thought of that. So there's one thing that could definitely affect our velocity. Let's see. Well, and we had that fire drill last week because of the implementation, right?
Okay.
So I guess that we had to focus on that one thing, and it was kind of all people on the ground doing that one thing. So maybe we didn't get as many completed. So I guess there's a couple of things that we could say to leadership about the why.
Okay, and is there anything that we could do, maybe to address those fire drills? And did we communicate to our stakeholders so they're not just aware of this dip? Did we communicate that ahead of time?
You know what? Now that you say that, I think the product owner was out a couple of days last week, so maybe that communication wasn't there. I don't know.
Right.
Yep.
I think we're good. Unless you think we should keep going, Sarah. We're coming up on our 5-minute mark, and I want to make sure we have time at the end. So,
yes.
Very good. You started out with curiosity for sure. You reassured her. You played an audible with the holidays, which I really enjoyed. You were coaching along the way. You were saying, like, you were taking those opportunities to reinforce the mindset that we need to reinforce. The moment where I had you come back and address it, you did it without skipping a beat. It's just all good stuff. I think this is the way to go. There is room for growth in there, but really only room for growth. From a Scrum Master's perspective, this is more than I would expect. So awesome. Good job.
Thank you for that feedback, Randall.
I loved that she said we want to keep it transparent, and we don't always want to basically tell the good story, which is something that I repeat to my Scrum Masters all the time. We are not up here just to show the shiny lights and that everything is fine, because it's not fine.
Exactly.
And if we need help, we need to make that visible and transparent.
How do you feel, Sarah? In both cases, both the one where with curiosity, how did you feel? Like, did you feel reassured? Did you feel like Sonota had your back, and you were safe? Or what were your thoughts?
I did, because she was expressing how we can dig into the data and really more around the why than anything else, which is kind of what I was looking for as far as reassurance, right? If I was the actual team member. So yeah.
Cool.
All right. Legacy of people is right below that. So just in a short time frame. Yeah.
So we find it important to understand what impact you have on the people that you work with.
Okay.
So think about people that you've worked with, and are there any that stand out in your mind in terms of where are they now? Do you have people reaching out to you for advice from previous jobs? Do you have any indication from a person perspective that you've had an impact in your work?
Yes. So at first I was just like, but then I did remember a product owner that I worked with. I did work with a product owner who, she was a business analyst initially. So just, didn't find it very easy transitioning to understand her role as a product owner. So what would happen is that she would come to the refinement meeting, you know, backlog is not prioritized. She didn't have a good understanding of the work. So she couldn't, you know, when the team was asking her questions, she couldn't answer those questions. She couldn't really answer them with ease. So basically what our refinement meeting was, you know, the team asking questions and she's taking away a bunch of questions. Whereas sometimes you have, if the product owner is knowledgeable, you're having a dialogue and, you know, discussion, and they're able to, you know, gain that understanding of the user stories. So what I did, I set up every Friday. We had on Tuesdays, I believe, we had our refinement meeting. Every Friday, I would meet with her, sometimes for an hour, sometimes for 2. She was so nervous about getting fired because everyone was complaining about her. And so we would just go through the backlog. Take, you know, stories at a time. And I would just explain to her, you know, the importance of her being prepared for that refinement meeting. Also for her she needed some type of catch up as well. So what we did was, I'm like, even if it's just 3 user stories, know those user stories like the back of your hand. Ask your business partner, ask your team members, all of the questions, just to gain that clarity. And what we could do is, if we need to have, even if we're doing just 3 user stories, if we need to have refinement a little more frequent just to get caught up, we'll do that. But just, you know, come prepared. Send out on Monday. I told her to send out the list of stories that the team would be reviewing. Just so getting her to that place. We connected on LinkedIn. She now is at a different organization, and she jokes about it, but, you know, she does say that, you know, I did help save her job. And she also thanked me for,
No, she's definitely not.
She's not joking.
No, she was. And she said, you know, she felt safe to come to me, to be able to just let her guard down, to say that she didn't know. You know, during the call, she would make excuses and kind of blame it on other people and say she has a meeting. But I could kind of see through it. And then, you know, she just kind of let her guard down. And then I said, that's fine. Let's work together and let's, you know, get you on track.
She felt safe with you.
Yeah.
Results oriented. You mentored. You know the importance of baby steps. You're doing so well.
Thank you.
I love it. I do want to talk through the Magellan culture, and then I want to give you a chance to ask questions.
Okay.
And all that. So I want to be very, very transparent with you. We are definitely in the midst of this crazy transformation. We also went agile in 2017, but it was very much a dictatorship, and it was very strictly enforced.
Okay.
In a way that was very un-agile-like, and so that is why we've been able to engage with Randall to kind of like save agile at Magellan. We were calling it an agile refresh. We are now calling it an official agile transformation.
Okay.
So here's the good. My leadership is all in. My CIO knows Randall by name. He knows me by name. I am, you know, a manager, so there's obviously levels in between he and I, but they understand the importance of this, and they are all in. And that goes from the top down. We really have buy-in, especially on the IT side. We are getting there on the business side. Mm-hmm. We're definitely in that same vein, I guess. I just want to say that, like, our culture is a little bit old school. However, with the whole transformation thing, that has definitely been pushing for a more open, accepting change, you know, not change adverse, but change excited or something, however I say that. It is definitely a work in progress. I'm not going to lie to you. There are some people that have been around for 20 plus years, and they don't even know how to spell change. They are terrified of it. But I do feel like exactly what you said earlier, getting new eyes in the door and getting fresh perspectives. Magellan has maybe sometimes they have moved people around instead of hiring in new and getting that fresh perspective. And I'm all about the fresh perspective. I think that it works out really well. So, you know, you will have a good work-life balance. The expectations are high, but it is kind of chaotic. and I'm not going to lie to you about that, but
Okay.
it's awesome for a challenge, and it's awesome for somebody like you that I feel like you are up for that challenge. You have that personality and you have that drive. So I wanted to give you that. Um, and I forget where you're located. Are you in Texas?
No, in Maryland.
Maryland. Okay, that's right. Sorry, we are 100% remote.
Okay.
And I'm actually glad that you're in Maryland. I'm in Columbus, Ohio, so now at least I have somebody else in the Eastern time zone. Most everybody's in Central.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's fine. It doesn't ever get, like, to be honest, it would be much harder if you were in like California. I think most people are in either Central or Eastern. All right, I'm going to stop talking because we only have 4 minutes.
Okay.
What questions, comments, concerns do you have?
So I did see some of the challenges that you all had with the, previous, I wouldn't say previous, but, just you said agile dictatorship. And were you both a part of that IT buy-in? So you mentioned that there was IT buy-in. Were you all a part of that buy-in, or did it always exist and, no one just kind of kept, track of the agile leadership or, yeah.
So I think that it was timely when the other leader put her 2 weeks in, because I think that my CTO took that as an opportunity to get fresh eyes and to really like revamp everything, because just like almost anywhere else, like you're saying, like we have projects that we were supposed to, put out the door and they're late or they're whatever. So Jeff was really taking this opportunity to get new eyes. And the first thing he said was, we are doing this. And since then, I want to take some credit, as well as he, for communicating, to being very transparent about what we're doing, being like open about what our goals and objectives are. And so it's been, I would definitely say that the CTO, Jeff, started the whole like thing, but I don't know how to say it, but I feel like along the way, we've definitely been building and maintaining that excitement and buy-in.
Okay, awesome.
As a third party, I can say I see the buy-in. What you have is what they need in terms of energy that can motivate team members, the ability to pull people along and show them what's in it for them. That's what they need in spades. So.
All right, thank you. And what would as of today, what are the kind of biggest gaps and challenges that the transformation is facing?
Randall, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, exactly that. There's a lot. They've had some changes. They've had some churn, and the teams are tired and rightfully so wary, right? Like they faced such churn in the past, and to Sarah's point, like that wasn't exactly the best change, like the most positive change. So they don't trust you when you walk in. They didn't trust me when you walk in, but they respond well to human interaction, and so far anyway. And they respond well to showing them why they need to do things.
Yes.
And when they don't, you actually have leadership backing you. I was able to reform teams just because I thought it was a good idea. That never happens, right? Like that kind of buy-in never happens. So you got support.
Yeah, our leadership is like, do what you got to do.
Okay, I love that. Because sometimes as the agile group, the challenge is, okay, they said they're doing it, the company says they're doing it, but that true buy-in is truly not there. And so on a day-to-day basis, you hear comments that are anti-agile and just not encouraging. So,
well, Randall's going to leave. I will give you a really good explanation or a really good example. Last week, Randall escalated a point to say this current portfolio that he's working in, he's getting a ton of pushback. He's not getting buy-in from those dev managers. So Jeff, the CTO, basically set up a meeting with the entire portfolio and was like, hey, this isn't optional. This is what we are doing. This is the go forward, like get on board or get out, right. Basically. And okay, so I report directly to the CTO, which is also very, very weird, but he really wanted to keep tabs on this particular transformation, and which is why he didn't like put anybody in between me and him. And so he's very, very involved, and he also understands like what needs to be done, and he's not about the bullshit. Like he's very, very direct. He's
Awesome.
scary sometimes, but I've learned to read Jeff, so I don't get as scared as I used to.
Well, that speaks volumes, actually, Sarah, for you to report directly to him, because that says that, he's invested. So,
He is. I can't tell you that Jeff has put like so much like trust in me, because I don't know that I was necessarily like perfectly skilled or qualified for this job, and he gave it to me anyway, knowing that I would get there. Basically.
Awesome. I love that.
I love that too, but that's why I like you, because I think that you're the same way.
Yes.
I feel like people have given you opportunities
Yes,
along the way.
they really have, and I don't take it for granted.
Yeah. All right, so I do need to hop onto this other one. It does look like you have your, wow, you have like Scrum Master. Good. So if you've been looking on the website, so the reason that I emailed you with like, hey, it's not going to be for the lead role, it's going to be the senior role, is because I filled the lead role already, but I'm going to most probably have an open rec pretty soon. That said, I don't have an exact timeline, but I'm very, very interested in you.
Okay.
And I really want, like, I would hire you tomorrow, honestly, if I could.
Thank you.
I'm very impressed, and I think that you just have the energy and the knowledge all in one, and it's amazing.
Thank you.
I'm so happy.
I hope the rec comes out soon.
Yeah, I can't say exactly when, but I think in the next, like for sure by the end of August.
Okay.
I know it's the beginning of August, so for sure though. Oh, and the CPO is calling me into this meeting. So
Okay. Thank you, Sarah, for your time.
Call you later. Thanks.
Oh, all right. Bye.